Hello everyone, welcome back. And on today's menu we have this eggless Easter bun. As you know, Easter is around the corner, and if you don't eat eggs, this one is just for you. Let's get started. So to my saucepan I went in with some shortening and butter, some jam. I'm going to in with a Guinness stout. You could use Dragon or Malta if you do not into alcohol. And I'm going to go in with a couple tablespoons of molasses. And to that I'm going to go ahead and add some brown sugar. I cut my sugar mixture in half because the molasses, the honey and the jam are super sweet, and I really don't like my bun too sweet, so I cut my sugar in half. Here I am going with about 2 tablespoons of honey too as well. Then I'm going to go ahead, add some vanilla to this. Then I'm going to bring this to the stove top and allow everything to come together. My butter was cold, so I have to melt it on the stove top. But if you want, you could bring everything to room temperature and melt your butter in advance, and then just go ahead and start mixing. So I'm just going to go ahead and just allow this to melt, then cool down. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and prep my dry ingredients. I went in with some all-purpose flour, baking powder, allspice, salt, and I'm going to grate in some orange zest. Now if you don't have the mixed spice, you could go ahead and combine nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, and your favorite spices that makes it spice bun, hence the name spice bun. So I'm zesting in an orange. You could use a lime zest or a lemon zest, but I wouldn't go too much with the lemon and the lime because it can tend to get a bit bitter. I'm going to mix well and set aside. So for my fruits, I went ahead and hydrate some cranberries and some raisin and some mixed peel, and I'll be adding a few cherries to this. Then I'm going to go ahead and prep my bowl. So here I am just using a piece of butter to grease my baking dish. I'm using this dish, but please feel free to use any dish of choice, and you could use some oil and then dust it with some flour, anything that will allow the bun to release from the baking pan once it's done baking. So I went ahead and add a few of the cherries. You could add as much or as little as you like, and then mix well to combine. Remember, this is your bun, customize it the way you like. Add the fruits you like, remove the ones you don't like. Now my mixture has cooled down, and I'm going to go ahead and add this to my flour mixture, and I'm going to mix well to combine. We don't really want to over mix because this is the eggless version, and we don't want the gluten to develop in here because we want it to remain nice and fluffy and soft. Because if you mix too much, the gluten will develop and it will taste like doughy, like a dumpling texture. So once all the mixture, the liquid is fully incorporated, you're going to go ahead and add your fruits. And once the fruit is just combined, I'm just going to go in with my spatula to get all the dry flour patch that hasn't been mixed in. And once that's done, it's that. Don't need to mix no more. Then you want to preheat your oven. In the meantime, my oven is being preheated to 350 degrees, and I'll be baking this. This took about an hour to bake, it depending on how much batter you have in your pan and the temperature of your oven. So you want to bake and check around the 45-minute mark to see the texture of your bun, to see if it's done, but you want to keep an eye on it. Remember, the thicker the bun, the longer it takes, and the less batter you add, then it bakes quicker. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a few more of that fruit on top. This part is super optional as well. You could add or you could take out. Remember, you could customize it your way. And I'm going to go in with a few cherries on top just to make it a little bit more pretty and inviting. And this is going to go into the oven and bake. So in the meantime, I went ahead and create a little glaze. So I used some of the syrup from the cherry, some butter, and some honey. You could customize your sauce. You could just use honey and butter, anything you want, or you could just reduce it on the stovetop. You could reduce some sugar and water and butter on the stovetop, and that could be a glaze as well. So I'm just using a shortcut. I microwave this for 30 seconds, and this is ready. It looks watery, but trust me, it's super sticky once it cools. Now my bun is out of the oven, and I'm going to insert my skewer just to let you know that it's done. And I'm going to go ahead and glaze this all over top. Let me tell you, this was smelling so good. By the way, right now the aroma is nose blinding. It smells so good. So I'm just going to glaze this thoroughly, and I allow this to cool down. In fact, I didn't cut this until the next day, but so I allow it to cool down and allow the textures to come together before cutting into it. But feel free to do whatever you want. I will leave a full written recipe, measurement, and everything down in the description box, so you could go ahead and follow this recipe if you are interested. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share, and if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, click that button and then turn on the post notification so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you're on Facebook, go ahead and hit the follow button so you'll be notified. Now the moment of truth. This bun is super soft, it's moist on the inside, and as you know, it's Easter time and spice bun is served up with some tasty cheese. Most people don't like cheese. You could have this with some butter, a piece of pear, just as is. Yeah. The options are endless, but this bun was so good just as is. Let me show you the texture on the inside. It's super moist, it's flavorful. The yellow part is the cheese that I had into it for presentation. But let me tell you guys, the bun was so good. So if you're not into eggs, you won't have to feel left out this Easter. You could go ahead and make it your own. Thank you so very much for watching. See you in my next one. Bye bye.